All right, next on the agenda is the election of the council and endowment committee members. Everybody should have a ballot on the back of their agenda. And I'm going to make a motion to set the section of the bylaws aside for this meeting that govern the terms of the council members to 3 terms. We've done this almost every meeting because we don't have enough people who would like to be on the council, so the people who serve on the council kind of just continue to serve on the council. Does anybody have any nominations from the floor that anybody would like to serve on the council? No? Going once? No. So I make a motion to set this section of the bylaws aside for this meeting because myself and Stephen Jankowicz are both over our term. So we would continue to serve on the council since we're willing to do so. Can I get a second? Anybody opposed? All in favor? Okay. Of accepting this slate? Okay. So with that section of the bylaw set aside, I present this slate of council members, and I make a motion to accept this slate of council members. Are there any opposed? No. Okay. All right, so next is the pastor's report.
You got through it, Jennifer. See? Yeah, they're clapping for you. Yeah, because they love you, Jennifer. We love you, and we're very grateful. Even though Jennifer and Stephen both have overserved their terms according to our bylaws, we are grateful for the work that they do, and we're grateful for their leadership. Okay, so I just wanted to touch a little bit on the budget, especially the $70,000 deficit. Okay. Okay, if you look at your budget's last page, okay, the very last page, and you see the very first column, it says, right above the Endowment Fund historical data, right here, it says total operating expenses, net operating income less expenditures. Okay, so through October, we are a positive $14,500. But that is only because we took $25,000 out of the endowment. So we've needed a little over $10,000 to get to where we are now and stay in the black. Okay, everybody following that? Okay. The deficit, we had projected a deficit of $35,000. We'll see what happens over this next month, November and December. Okay. So the council, so we all know that we are in the midst of transitioning from 2 buildings into 1, and we have a lot of stuff in the balcony that needs to find a home, that we need to create space for. We know we're going to take these pews out over here, and we're going to put in some cabinets there for stuff for the altar, and some of Rob's stuff there, right? We did 1 room already. We created a new Sunday school room, painted it, and I just am grateful for all the volunteers that helped do that. The Witzke room, as some of you know, has been also cleaned out and painted, and we're waiting for Brandon to come by and do the floor, since he does that for a living for Baltimore County Schools. I was with him on Friday. He's gonna do that for us. We want to get there's the reason why I'm saying this, I guess I could just say there is a ton of work, right, that we still have to do to sort of create this space functional, because the hall downstairs is filled with a bunch of stuff, all right? And in your announcements today, I forgot to lift it before you, is that because of this transition, we are not in a position to do a Tinsel Sunday dinner, okay? We're still going to have a special worship service on Tinsel Sunday, but we can't host 100 people or something for dinner. It's too much work, right? Okay, one of the things that we've also had on our agenda in council is to be able to rent space in the kitchen for startups, all right? We've had 4 or 5 people who are want to start a new business in the food industry, and they're just looking for kitchen space, okay? Well, one of our members ran into an inspector that he knows that told him how to do that. We need to do that as a council. I was talking to Jennifer last night. Turn off our microphone. But the going rate for kitchen space is like $20 to $25 an hour, okay? And if we can max that space, we can make up a huge chunk of that deficit, okay? Yeah. If we could get 40 hours a week, which I'm not sure we can, but because we'll start out small, but it might eventually get to a big enough place, especially if a lot of startup people say, hey, United Evangelical Church has a commercial-sized kitchen, and you can rent from them, right? That would be, at 40 hours a week full, right, is $52,000 at the $25 an hour. This is something that we've talked about, we've kicked around for a while. We need to do it this year, okay? We need to do it. So in terms of the deficit, $70,000 is a huge dollar amount. And this is one of the reasons why we went ahead and presented this budget as is, because of the potential for the kitchen, right? The other thing I wanted to reassure people about is that there's a pastor friend I know. He's actually a member of this church because he's a UCC pastor, and he serves the Unitarian congregation downtown. And as a UCC pastor, you have to have your membership in a UCC church. Okay, those are the rules. So he came by on Thursday with his raffle tickets. You know, he participates in the life of our church. But he said, he ran into a pastor, and he said, I didn't realize how blessed I am because so many pastors are bivocational, okay? So what I'm trying to say to you is it's rare today to have a pastor who just is a pastor of a church. A majority of clergy are bivocational. So you all know that I work at Bayview, right, in addition to this. And so to understand that that's okay, all right? However we can do it financially as a church, we should do it, okay? The other thing is, Pam talked about when we get the money from the sale of the building, you know, we have to pay back the endowment, we have to pay our lawyer, we have to pay our real estate person, and then we have to do work on the building. So I told Jennifer last night, if we end up with $200,000, I think we're lucky. Okay, we'll be lucky, okay? And so, but that money, what the plan is right now, is to put it into an account like the endowment account, all right? But it won't have the restrictions on it that the endowment, that govern the endowment right now, okay? And so if you would just look for a second at, again, the last page, and it's about the historical data. It says date, but that's a typo. The Endowment Fund historical data, all right? The total amount invested since we created this was $285,000. The amount that's been taken out of it is $262,000. And what we have left is $141,000, okay? So this creation of this endowment was to do exactly what we're doing now, fix up the parsonage so that we could rent it for all right? The endowment fund is the money that we use to pay Stephen and Josh and Katie to do this kind of worship. And this is another thing I want to talk about as a church. Because lately, okay, so I'm glad Katie's not here because I'm going to brag on her work a little bit, and that bothers her when I do that. But she is really good at internet and webs, like putting out a presence there, right? Our Facebook page, our website, our Google profile or whatever. People will Google the church. We get data in the council that tell us how many times someone visits our website, how many times we're looked up on the web, how many times we're called, how many times people have asked for directions, like clicked on directions to the church. So we know that we're getting traffic, we're getting internet traffic, and we have had a lot of visitors, especially earlier this year. We had at least a half a dozen of young people come, all right? The concerning part is that they're not coming back. And so I have met with a couple of them about what it is they're looking for and in a church, and what brought them. How did you find out? On the web, right? We now have a very strong web presence because of the work that we pay Katie to do, right? But it's like they're just too polite to tell me, even though I asked them directly, what is it that you're looking for? Some of them have said that they're looking for worship like this. So I'm not sure if we've just not, been able to put out enough of that kind of worship, because we do have the organ as well. I'm not sure what it is, but we do have, we are reaching people, okay? Because that's another way that we have to address our deficit, right? Because I had 3 funerals this week, right? We're not all going to be here forever. And so we have to have that generation that we're going to pass this church on to, right? Stephen, you, Brandon, Tay, Josh, we need to find those people, right? These, where'd they go? Oh, good. So, just want to share that work with you that we're aware of, that we're doing. Mm-hmm. That is an excellent idea. Yeah, yeah. That because so it's like there was several of them, 3 of them, that I sent contact with. They gave me their contact information. We talked. I gave them my. It's like I contacted them, and only one of them followed up to talk with me, right? And so it's like, dang, it's like we can't figure it out if you don't tell us. What do we do good? What are we not doing that you would be drawn to, sort of thing, okay? And then, it's also about who are we as a church, We need to know who we are, that we can't be everything to everybody. But if we have a younger population, and these are all people within walking distance to the church. If we have this younger population to tap into their brains, you know, that's what we need to do. I think that is that is all the things that I wanted to mention. As you know, mentioned about the historical data of the Endowment Fund, the money that will come in from the sale of the building, and then about the kitchen and the work that we're doing to try to tap this younger population. And like we had 2 visitors today, a couple that lives right down the street here, like 917, I think, 917, right? So I met this person. I was here with Brandon and another one of his friends moving stuff from that building over here. He was helping me. And she's got her earbuds on, right? And she's got water, and she's just like going over, putting dirt in this basket and dancing back to her dirt and getting another shovelful, putting it in this plant, you know. She was just, and I'm like, I gotta meet that woman, right? Who dances while they do their yard work, right? So I go over there and meet him. Her and her partners, Karen and Princess are their names. Karen, they were getting married. She goes, oh, I wish I would have met you earlier. We already have an officiant, blah, blah, blah. I said, it's okay. We look forward to, we're going to come down. Today was their first day here. We're going to come down, and they've already started to give the church a monthly donation through PayPal, which is another web thing that we're doing, okay? I get a call the day of their wedding from Pam, who is our bookkeeper, because Pam lives right next door to them, and she's like, Kathy, we have a pastoral emergency. Their officiant called and said she can't make it the day of their wedding. The officiant is like, this is the bummer part. They had already paid her. Right, it's like, don't go online to find your pastoral presence. Come to a brick and mortar store, right? Right, so, and it was like, Kate, can we do this? And Kate's like, sure, let's do it. And so I officiated at their wedding, and so that's the way we make connections as well as through online stuff, all right? Katie, yes? Right, that's good. That's great. So they're looking for ministries to plug into, right? They were asking about the gifts in the back, how to sponsor those gifts, and that's one of the things that people are looking for from a church. I think, myself and generations before me, we have a loyalty to the institution. This is the church I grew up in, and I had all of these memories. There's a lot of people out there who did not grow up in church, okay? And so, but they're looking for something, and they know the church offers something, and they're not sure if that's it. We've had a visitor like this. He's not sure he's Christian, but he's looking for something that's meaningful in his life. And talked about the ministries that we do, the connections that we make. People want to do good. People want to do good with their resources. And so, I am very proud of this congregation of the ministries that we do. This small band of people, the small band of people that we're going to feed 25 families this week with our Thanksgiving baskets. Thank you, Clarence Rowell, for showing us that way, right? The school, did I say this? Yeah, announcements. The community connection person that I'm working with at the school said, we're so glad you're doing this because the kids are off this week, and all the kids that get the free breakfast and free lunches won't have those resources. Now their families will have this extra food to get them through this week. Okay, you want to say something?
I have a great announcement. So I received a phone call from Sam from the Vibrancy 21 committee for the Canton Festival.
Okay.
He said that it's good one for next year.
Okay.
So I have a table and I'm inviting the church to set up right next to me so we can reach. They said it's supposed to have like 15,000 people come through. It's over 200 vendors. So it's going to be a good look for us to get out there and meet people.
Yeah. So there is, I'm going to just say this online for the people who couldn't hear you, that Alyssa's been trying to get to this festival that's down here in Canton. It's the Canton Festival, right? It's in Patterson Park, but what's it called?
It's the Canton
The Canton Spring
Spring Fest.
Fest. So she's going to have a table there with her weirs, and we're going to be right next to her as the church, that we reach people in the community, right? Because the people, it's like less and less people know what Botz's church is, right? I would talk to people, because, you know, I meet also a lot of people at Bayview, right? Some of them know, some of them don't know. I minister right down here in Canton. So that's a great thing. Thank you for that good news as well. I think those are all the things I wanted to share with you. Is there anybody who has any questions for me? Dick?
Those antennas that's on attached to that building, we were getting money from that. Does that stop when we sell that?
Jennifer mentioned it. You know, Sprint was bought by T-Mobile, and T-Mobile has mothballed this. They have gotten rid of this site. We're no longer a cell site. We were going to lose that money when we sold the building, but it ended in October. October was the last month that we got money from that cell tower. It's all gone. That's why our deficit's going to be $70,000 next year. Yeah. It was sort of like, it was like God. Yeah, and they'll be removing that equipment. Yeah, it's done. It's done. And it's like, you know, I see God's hand all over this, right? We're going to lose it. And it's like, okay, you had your cell tower. Now you don't need it anymore. And people who are going to make money off that building, they don't need it.
But I think the option to open up a kitchen is a great option to help make up that deficit.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we have to do that. Any other questions for me? All right, I think there's just old business and new business left.
All right, so for old business, it's the update on the sale of the Sunday school building. And Friday, they dropped off the documents to me because as the council president, I sign on behalf of the church for the documents. So one day last week, I came and signed the plats, like the drawings with Jacob, the footprint of the building, and then they were submitted for approval. And then on Friday, they dropped off the paperwork that needed to be signed and notarized by me on behalf of the church. So that'll be picked up tomorrow, and hopefully everything will be done.
So I'm just going to reiterate what is happening with this. So what Jennifer signed was the bylaws and what's the other one called? The condo creation documents. That's what it is. So this entire footprint of land that we own, right, we are now one condo, and that building over there is a second condo, okay? We needed to create a condo regime. We just signed those. Those now need to be approved by the state. And odds are the state will approve that, and then they'll be recorded, and then they can buy the building. Jacob is ready to just go ahead and settle on the building now because everything is in place. But he's taking a risk because if it's not approved by the state. But he thinks, everybody thinks it will be, okay? So we needed to enter into this condo agreement because the square footage of the ground on which that building stands was not enough to create enough units to make it feasible to create housing in that building. So they are using the whole footprint of space to put in 16 units in the building next door. That's how they do it. Which means we can't create any housing in this unit, okay? But we didn't think we were going to, so. The parsonage and the church belong to our condo, right? And like, not everything on the other side of that door, because we have shared space. We've created shared space in this access to the roof that's next on the other side of those windows. We have shared space on the roof of that building because of our cooling towers for our air conditioning. We have access to that. The gas and water mains come in through that building, and so we have right-of-way, right? That's been included in those condo documents. So everything that we needed has been made provisions for us. And then that's what Jennifer was talking earlier, but part of that condo documents is that we do not have any chipping, peeling, or missing paint. And if you look at the windows, I mean, which we call them windows or sieves, okay? That we have already explored getting all new windows in terms of costs, right? For down in the hall, because some of those windows blow open. The hall, the kitchen, the offices, and up there, okay? These were renovated in 2007, okay? So 15 years now. 15 years, oh my gosh. But, so I don't think there's any work needed on them. If there is, it will be minimal, okay? But these other windows and that door, that side door on Dillon Street, has got all kinds of chipping paint on it. It's been on our council agenda a lot. Thank you to Terry Bragg, who keeps reminding us how horrible it looks. And we're trying to get some work initiated with that. Part of it is we're trying to do as much as we can with volunteers, and we don't have a lot of really young people. We want to thank Carrie Hogan for lending us her husband a lot. And also, who's not here, is Scott Johnson, who does a lot of work. Travis has been here. We just had an issue with, as you know, with the boiler. It turned out to be just some faulty wiring. Praise God for that. And then there was the issue with the leakage for the air conditioning that we just got fixed, and so Travis has been involved in that. So in the midst of trying to get things ready, we're having to deal with property issues at the same time. So I just wanted to explain to everybody the agreement we're getting into and why we need to fix windows. We do need to take some money and do the works that will that we stay in compliance with the condo agreement that we're entering, okay? We have to stay on top of that. The other thing is the spire. That's a biggie. We want to do some work on it that will last long term, so we're not up there every 10 years, painting or whatever. Jacob is the man who's buying this building. Jacob has given me the name of someone that does, like, we talked about this in council, but we're not sure we can afford it, to like copper coat it, and it would become a patina, and it will last a long, long time, right? I don't know how expensive that is. The other option is to then sandblast it and paint it, and that's not inexpensive either. So, because there's just a lot of rust on it, and It got painted before I got here, and I've been here 20 years, okay? So 20 years on a paint job outside is pretty good, I think. All right, I just wanted to, that's an update. The sale is imminent, but not here yet. Any questions about the building? Okay, the downstairs, those bathrooms are ours. So like the door that goes into the gym, right? Both of those stairways are ours downstairs, but that's it. That door that goes into the gym will be gone, okay? The bathrooms are ours. The whiskey room is ours. There is, from the back stairwell, there is an entrance up to the alleyway. We will have access to that to take our garbage out that way. Access to there and access to the roof. And to the bell tower, we have to get access to that too. Anybody else? Katie? What? Yes, that was another thing that this will probably come up for a vote at the congregational meeting in January. That, you know, so this has been a non-permanent mount, and we've talked about mounting a TV permanently on that pillar and then one on this pillar so that people over there can see there and people in that back corner can see there. Okay? And so we have to decide if this is the way we want to continue in our worship, okay? Because as I said, it's like we've done this to reach a new population of people, and we're reaching them, but they're not coming back. So are we doing, is this what they're really looking for, or what? So we have to decide that.
So two things on that note. I'd be interested to hear from people in the congregation to see what they think is the reason, or possible reasons why you're not returning. Maybe we could chat about that and toss around ideas.
We did a little bit when you weren't in here.
Oh, you did? Okay, all right. Sorry. And then the other thing is, for anyone who sits more so to the back, how are you able to see it? Like, how are you able to see the screen from back here? Is it too small? What?
Seeing the TV. The television's fine, I just, it blurs on me, that's all, my eyes.
Okay. All right.
It kind of, I was going to be able to, back here, see one here, but yeah, now they're on that one.
So the rule, I've been doing some research on this. The rule of thumb is however long the sanctuary is, you multiply that. So if you had a 60-foot sanctuary, they recommend a 72-inch screen. We have 65s right now. So I'm trying to get a judge of whether we should go a little bit bigger or we're good. So for a 60-foot sanctuary, they recommend a 72-inch. So that would probably be the most that we would need. I don't think this is more than 60 feet.
Brackets for the, whether it be this one or a larger one, would it be the same bracket?
We're not doing it. We're having professionals do it. So then if it falls, it's their fault.
I think what she's saying is we use this little small
Hmm? Oh, no, we can't use this bracket. We'd have to have a wall mount bracket. We would get the size bracket of the TV we're going to use. Because this TV came from downstairs.
Yeah, but I was saying, how would you know whether this one would be compatible, you know, enough? And then just get it back, as to whether we'd have to go to the bigger one.
We will find that out before we buy brackets.
Hopefully, once we start our windows back,
Yes.
I think our last window, which would be the next window, was supposed to be for those side doors. We had talked about
Okay.
proceeds from the window to pay for those side doors, new doors. So, and then the next window would have something to do with the TVs.
Okay.
So hopefully, you know, when we get, you know, I mean, if it's time enough, we
Right. Okay, so Carol is talking that hopefully in 2022, we will be able to restart bingos as fundraisers for the church. Again, we got to clean out the hall downstairs. That's like as a dumping ground for all that we want to keep. And so, the last bingo, or the bingo that was supposed to happen that didn't happen? The last bingo, it didn't happen. They had scheduled a bingo that we had to cancel because of COVID, and the money was supposed to go towards the doors on Dillon Street. If the bingo start back up, we can designate monies from that bingo towards the TVs. We also have an endowment that we could probably cover that too, as well as the scholarships, as well as the money that goes to the budget. I mean, this year's, so let's say we put the money back in December. The 5-year average would allow us to take out like $12,000 from the endowment. At 5%, it would be 3% would be like closer to 9, I think. Okay. Mm-hmm. No. No, that's not true. Okay, so the endowment is governed that we can take out up to 5% of it every year, okay? Next year would be about that. However, we have as a congregation voted to take out monies to redo the parsonage, and also like $75,000 to continue the church over the last 2 years, okay? To get us through to the sale of the building, et cetera. Okay, so when we put all that money back that we borrowed, right? The endowment, every year we can take up to 5%, and it's, the goal is not to say, oh, well, do we really need this? The goal is encouraging the church to embark on ministries that we sort of need funding for to do. That's not in our regular budget. Okay, go on. Mm-hmm. That's the budget. That's the money that you guys put in, or not you guys, we put in, because I put mine into it, that we put in the plate every Sunday. That's outside of the endowment. And that's why we have the laws, I guess I want to say, that govern the endowment, so that we know that it's not just there to live off of as a church. It's there to fund new things that the budget can't handle. All right? Does that make sense? Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Come on.
Just going back to like what brings younger people in.
Uh-huh.
No disrespect. But when I come to church, I'm tired, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I would close my eyes. And I feel like if we have like more today's generation of music,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that would bring in more younger people. Because when I read from the hymnal, I'm monotone, and I don't sing because I don't know what I'm singing. Or how to follow the music. And I'm 26 years old, and if we had more today's music, maybe that would keep the younger people in here. Because I like the guitar and the drums and the music that we put on the TV, like I get into it.
At the beginning, yeah.
I do this. But when we read from the hymnal, I'm like,
Thank you very much for sharing that. You can't, yeah, you can't. It is. I've not.
He's like that Holy Spirit is like a flame, and it's like, whoo. Not that yours is not. I love your preaching also, but they have a whole, like just their church is like it's lit. It's
Yes,
lit.
it is. Yes, it is.
We have our moments. We do.
We do.
Love this church.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's a generational thing. It's just getting comfortable with the newer stuff and being inspired by it and getting the Holy Spirit because of it.
Yes.
Right, but see, our church originally was very German. Spoken too. Very religious, and then with the years, it's loosened up. But I think it's still in there. You know, I come up with some songs I ask Rob about.
Okay.
Crowders. What's that song he sings?
Crowder.
Yeah, Crowder.
A great. Okay. Yeah. We. It's okay. That's a question I want to ask some of our congregational meeting members who've been here for a while. So we do these more contemporary songs at the beginning of worship. Are any of them becoming familiar to you? Okay. Are they becoming familiar to you at all?
Done frequently enough. Sometimes we get a song on Sunday and it might be a really nice song, but we don't
Hear it again.
for many months and we don't remember that.
Okay. Anybody else? Do you remember? Are they becoming familiar? Are they becoming familiar in a way that you enjoy them? You can say no. It's okay. It's okay. If it's not your cup of tea, we need to hear that too. If it's not your genre, we need to hear that too, because the.
All right. And Lori Beth's coming in. Yes, I love contemporary music.
Okay, great. All right, so I can tell by the number of people who are leaving that I've spoken too much. Yes, thank you for saying. And so we've done the old business and some of the new business. Anybody, like anything else burning within them that has to be spoken? Go on. I'm teasing you.
So when I first came to this church, I liked the look of the church, I liked the feel of the church, because I came from the Catholic Church in my childhood, so having some of the similarities in,
Liturgy.
in the liturgy, we exalt thee, I surrender all of that was kind of homey feeling to me. So I'm in this middle age group between like the older and then the younger ones in here, and it was probably 20 years ago when I was in church, they were doing the contemporary music.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt that I appreciate some of the hymns that come up, but I felt like, we're 20 years behind.
Yeah, we are.
Catching up with this music.
We're more than 20 years.
To some extent. And I felt for a while now that when people come in and they leave, that it might be music. And it's just my discernment. I have my personal preference and I have things I love about the way that we do things, but I felt inside of myself that it has something to do with this. Because, I think people are looking for that Holy Spirit worship and you're on fire and you're dancing, and you're like moving to the music. Like that some of our visitors were dancing today, and I was like,
They were?
yeah.
Cool. I was busy reading music on a page. No, they're more like 1600s. But but the thing is, all of the Christmas hymns too, like Joy to the World and Little Town of Bethlehem, right? Those are ancient songs. And so I don't think that the answer is completely get rid of. No, exactly, and that's the nerve, exactly. Because, I love contemporary music, but I also love hymns, right? Because I'm that in-between generation, right? I grew up, and the organ, right? I mean, it's like, Rob, for a wedding that we did, the song that the bride wanted to come into was A Whiter Shade of Pale by Procol Harum, right? People, you know this song, right? And he could play it. He played it right on the organ because it was an organ solo, right? And he didn't mind doing that. Rob is a very devout person, and in the church it bothers him to do anything that's not Christian oriented. But he did that for that wedding, which I was like, this is cool. Oh my God, he's amazing at what he does. He's an amazing musician. He's an amazing electronic person. And so, what was I going to say? So, and we also just recently did that song that was an old song with a new melody line. No, it wasn't last week. I think it was a couple weeks ago. But it was like it took an old tune, and we've done this too. We've got one with Amazing Grace. My chains are gone, right? Also, the Wonderful Cross. It's the Wonderful Cross is like the, and we should do more of those. And but I think that like today, what's it called? For All the Saints. Now, who knows that song? For All the Saints. The last hymn. There's the last hymn we did. Yeah, right. You don't know that song? That's because you spent your years in the Sunday school. So, for all the saints who from their labors rest, right? That's the All Saints hymn. You sing that hymn. Okay. All right. Any other? Okay, great. Come on. 7:30. Anybody else? Terry? Okay. The date is the last Sunday of January, whatever that is. Lori Betch had another comment.
Lori is signing off. She says logging off now, but thank you. This meeting was full of information and very helpful. Great job, Jen and Reverend Slee. Thanks for not singing while you had the microphone in your hand.
Christmas Eve?
Yeah, have we ever given any consideration to doing the service earlier than 7:30? Because I've been hearing recently about churches who have been doing it like
4:30?
4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes.
Usually on Christmas Eve, they let you out early.
No, not when you work at Walmart and retail.
I just, there's a lot of people that like to come downtown at night. And if we did it earlier, then we might get more of a crowd.
Yeah, it is a suggestion. We used to do a 7:30 and then an 11 o'clock. And the 11 o'clock, the first year I was here, it had 3 or 4 people in it. And it's like, no, we're not going to do this. Yeah. I don't think we're a big enough community to have more than one service at this point. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think we need to be sensitive to those who are still working. Amen.
But it will be open to everybody this year.
And it will be online, so if you don't want to come, you can just plop it online on TV, wherever you're going to be, and you can join in. But the candlelight thing, you got to be here for, right? Anybody else? Terry, you were saying you had something. Oh, you asked about the date. Okay, all right. January 30th is the congregational meeting. All right. Then Jennifer.
Okay. All right. I'm going to adjourn the meeting. Can I have a second? All in favor? Okay, if Pastor Kathy could. Okay. Should we do the raffle? The raffle first? That's right. First, we're going to do the building fund raffle.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I got to draw it?
This is for third.
Third place, which is $100, it is Dorothy Huffman on Decker Avenue. Joan Huffman, you won $100. She called me earlier today. I have to find out. Second place. Blah, 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 blah. My fingers are sticking to it. Ray Schmidt, who lives in Gibsonville, North Carolina.
And first place.
First place, $300.
They're stuck together. It's the same person anyway. It is? It is.
Okay, good. Patty Bear. God bless you, Patty. She sold like 200 tickets. Good for her. All right. We already voted. We just accepted the whole slate.
Okay, as the closing prayer, we're going to say the Lord's Prayer. Okay. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Anybody who's helping with Thanksgiving baskets, we're going to do that downstairs.